Hello, and welcome to another MiG-21 tutorial video. Today we're going to be talking about navigation. Navigation just got a whole bunch of updates, and I believe we're finally at a good place for it. We're going to go ahead and discuss it today. Before I get going, I've been having this weird stutter. You can kind of see it, like right there, and right there. No idea what it is. I'm pretty sure it's not the MiG-21 specifically. I hope not. It wasn't happening at some other airports, so I'm really hoping it's nothing. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and climb up. So let's talk about navigation. There are several navigation systems in the MiG-21. Um, there is a dead reckoner, which uses this as well as this bar right here and the switches right here. There's a RSBN, which for our purposes is a VOR radio. This is your VOR radio right here. There's a ADF, NDB, whatever you want to call it. That is this guy right here, ADF channel select. And it kind of ties into this, but we'll get into this in a little bit. There's a comm radio, and there are a couple switches right here, and there's a switch right here we're going to talk about. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with our dead reckoner. So what the dead reckoner does, it does not use GPS in any way, shape, or form. It calculates a position based on our calculated true airspeed, our height, the outside air temperature, our pitch, all sorts of different variables go into this thing, and it basically points us to that position. It gets overwritten by the VOR, so if you have your RSBN radio on, it will overwrite your dead reckoner settings. So right now I don't have my RSBN radio on, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So right now my dead reckoner says that the point I'm aiming for is 111 kilometers. I'm looking at this. It is at bearing 131 or so. If we wanted to adjust that, there's these two switches right here. So the first one is the distance one. You can see the distance going up and down. This one right here is our bearing, so you can see this rotating. God, that stutters. So now our point is slowly coming out in front of us. And now let's put it over to the side. Bring it in a little bit closer, just so we can see how this thing moves. So, there we go. As you can see, it's rotating as you would expect. It's placing an imaginary point 5 kilometers out that direction. Slowly rotating it. This system is accurate within 5 to 10 nautical miles over an hour. So it's not super dead accurate, but it's accurate enough to where you can actually navigate with it. I've actually done some pretty long distance stuff with it, and it worked okay, especially when you back it up with the radios. It works pretty good. There is one other button we're going to talk about with the dead reckoner, and that's this little red guy. What this does is it sets the dead reckoner distance to 0, which essentially makes this your reference point. So now we can see it's pointed directly behind us, distance got set to 0. And that's pretty much all there is to the dead reckoner. That is your most basic form of navigation. It's your only form of non-radio navigation besides using your Mark 1 eyeballs. And yeah, Alright, so let's move on to the radios. The radios, the ARC radio and the RSBN radio, in real life they are tuned before takeoff. In sim, how we do that, we come with the MiG-21. We have our VOR ILS radio. Sorry, I forget about ILS. And you can type in your presets here. Do it by hand. That's one way to do it. Notice you get 20 channels for each. Same with your ADF radio. You only get 9 channels here though. The alternative, which is much better in my opinion, is you can load in a radio file. And what the radio file also allows is for text to show up here to let you know what is on what channel. Here's a radio file. I'm flying over Croatia right now, and this is what my Croatia radio file looks like. So we have navigation, VOR, frequencies, and identifiers, COM radio, ILS, ADF. So let's go ahead and load that one up. We go to MiG-21, select radio config file. Make sure it's in your export folder. Just something we have to do. Let's save as Croatia. So now see we have a whole bunch of IDs showing up. So now I don't have to guess. Normally I would do that before takeoff, but I wanted to be in error to show all this. I want to keep going up. So in order to use your VOR, switch between VOR and ILS, we have this switch right here. We have proceed, navig, landing. Landing means you're going to be using your ILS radio. Navig means you're using the VOR. Proceed means you're using the VOR, but it also ties into this little bar right here, and we'll go over that in a minute. I have no idea. Oh yeah, I know what it's done. Okay. So let's take a look at it. So we're gonna come over here. We have RSET. This is your comm radio. Turning that on. ARC. We're not gonna do that one just yet. And RSBN. So let's turn on our RSBN radio. You can now see the 2 green lights are on. This one is for your azimuth. This one's for your distance. I do not have my map up anymore. We're gonna go NTL. That's the one I need. 2. So with it set to RSBN mode, this right here is going to be pointing towards the radio signal. The thin white one is actually your radio line. So usually they'll coincide unless there's a strong cross breeze or something's out of alignment or something. So that's your radio. It's just a standard VOR, guys. If you need help, hit me up on Discord. It's not too complicated. It does overwrite your dead reckoner settings. So if we were to turn off our RSBN, so we're not getting any info. Notice how this is still pointing in the same direction. This is still ticking as we would expect. Yeah, I was like, is it gonna take over? So it overwrote your dead reckoner settings and it set the point to where the VOR is stationed. So if you're using VORs and a mix of dead reckoner and VOR at the same time, beware. Don't overwrite a dead reckoner that you want to keep. That would be bad. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about our ADF. Flip that bad guy on. Now, if you want to listen to your identifier on the VOR, we have a volume knob right here. It's pretty straightforward. On your ADF though, there is no volume knob right here. So what you have to do is come over here, flip that down, turn this up. And I'm not sure I'm going to have an ADF in range right now. Oh, so far I'm going to see if we can find one that's in range. I was not prepared for this one. Alright, we're gonna cheat. 265. ADF. Set 72265. Apply. Okay. So in theory, we should be hearing maybe this is bugged out. Volume, yep. So our volume's turned up. I'm just not hearing it for whatever reason. I'm in range. I don't know. Maybe I'm deaf. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Anyways, so we are actually pretty close to directly over that war, or that ADF. It's just off to our right. But notice how this is not pointing in the direction we would expect. Still pointing towards our dead reckoner setting. That is because we have another switch we need to flip. Right here. Notice how this one says RSBN ARC. We're going to flip that to ARC. And now, this is going to point in the right direction. Again, going back to the dead reckoner, this is overriding our dead reckoner heading setting. However, the distance is still going to be working. You can increase it, decrease it. It's still going to base it off of that point. So that's a handy feature. But again, beware that you're overriding your dead reckoner by using the ARC. One other aspect we're going to talk about in a little bit is this knob right here. This also affects your ARC radio, but it only affects it in very specific settings. We're going to go over that in a little bit. So that is your basic how to use radios. I'm going to go ahead and fly to the 041 radio on the NTL RSBN. I'll go ahead and turn on all these because I want them all on. NTL is 2. Flip down to 2. Okay, and then we want radial 41. And there we go. All right. One more thing we need to talk about, and we're going to talk about it here after we get on this radial, is the proceed setting and how fancy that is, what that can be used for. I know this is kind of like watching paint dry, I'm sorry. Let's see, is there anything I'm forgetting? While we're waiting to intercept. Yeah, it's gonna be well. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and talk about this. This is a very specific, very specifically used. That's why I didn't have it on the right side. This is for your when you are doing a approach that requires 2 NDBs, such as what we're going to be doing here in a little bit. When we fly into Zagreb, we have an NDB here and another one right here. We're going to be doing that. So what happens is, my turn is coming up. There's 2 settings here. There's 4 settings. 2, 4, 6, 8, and in addition to those, there's 2 more. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So basically, how this works. Start turning. I'm sorry, I'm so disjointed. It's 1:15 in the morning, and I'm ready for some sleep. But I really wanted to get this done. It's gonna be the longest video yet by far. Okay, so basically how this works. Say we're flying along right here. We're tuned into this ADF. We have this one, VG, set to 6. This one, PIS, set to 5. So, we have our ADF, flip to channel 5, make sure that this switch right here is on outer. So as we fly past the outer beacon, normally what in any other normal plane what you'd have to do is manually switch to channel 6 to tune into this ADF. This knob right here controls doing it automatically. So as we fly past this, what it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, we're flying past an ADF. Let's tune to the next one. So that's what it does. It only will tune to the next one if your landing gear are down, if the channel you have selected is odd, so 1, 3, 5, or 7. It will not do it if you are on channel 9. And this switch must be set to outer. Okay. So what the numbers are is as we fly past this first one, it's going to say, hey, we need to tune to channel 2 or channel 4, or since we loaded up this ADF, channel 6, we're going to go ahead and switch to channel 6. As it detects that you're flying by it, 1 means it's going to transition quick-ish. Takes about 4 seconds. If we have it on 2, it's going to take about 8 seconds to transition to the next ADF. And that's basically how it works. I hope I explained that okay. So remember, gear down. This is on an odd channel, not number 9. This is on outer. This is on number 6. If for whatever reason it doesn't flip over and you really want it to, flip the switch to inner. When you flip it to inner, it's going to set it to 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever you have set right there. I like way past my radio. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and start navigating now to PIS channel 5. Channel 5 is selected. Our ARC radio is definitely on. Flip that down to ARC. So now we are... I wish the volume was working, and I really don't like that it's not. Why is it not working? Anyways, we're in range, so should add a light or something, but anyways, so we're in range. It's pointing there. Let's talk about proceed real quick. I'm probably going to be descending too late for this. That's okay. So proceed, what the proceed does is it changes your pitch bar to automatically allow you a descent from 10,000 meters high and 1/3. Oh, this one. 10,000 meters high and 1,300 kilometers. Okay. So right now it's telling us to fly flat because we're significantly below. So what it does is it sets this little white bar right here is your pitch setting. So that's the pitch it wants you to fly in order to descend in a specified manner. It'll get you down to 600 meters at 20 kilometers distant. So I'm just gonna see how it's now descending down. Then it goes back up. Because it says, hey, you're closing in really fast. Okay. There we go. Go ahead and try and match it. I don't know why it's jumping around everywhere. I wasn't doing that yesterday. Oh, lordy. I need sleep, I tell you what. Go ahead and check where... So that's telling me I'm too low now. So anyways, that's what that does. Apparently it's still a little tweaked out or something. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now it wants me to descend. I'm telling you guys, I swear, this is working. It's working so nice too. Oh, it must be because of that stutter. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's the stupid stutter. Cause see how it's nice every time, and then stutter, and then jumps up. Okay. That makes me feel a little better about myself. Just a little bit though. I should do like a rolling average or something, but you know, I'm lazy. Alright, where the hell is this airport at? $80, whatever. Not picking up the bore anymore. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we're getting pretty close. How is it counting down now? I don't even know what's going on with my life. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Good. We're good. So I'm gonna go ahead and throttle back a little bit. We're gonna drop our gear. That's still set correctly. That's on outer. Arc is on. See if we can spot the actual tower. I don't know. So we're passing it. Going fast, 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 fast. Hopefully that was close enough. Still not seeing it, but whatever. See, now it's pointing a new direction. Awesome. So that's the magic in action right there of your automatic ADF tuner. Cool beans. This video is already 25 minutes long. So what the hey, let's go ahead and land using our ILS. So we're going to be landing on runway 5. I have that set up as ILS channel number 2. Get some speed. I'll flip it to landing. ILS channel number 2. So we're getting some info. I really need to redo these flags at some point too. We're getting some azimuth this info. So our ILS autopilot, we actually have 2 options here. Don't open your stupid canopy. There it is, okay. So we have a, apparently I'm not getting any info. That's dumb. Because my freaking RSBN. Okay, there we go, we're good. So we have a, go ahead and hit this one. This one's your fully automatic ILS autopilot. It aligns with your glide slope and your localizer. The other option right here is your command control, which doesn't control it for you, but it calculates everything, and it adjusts your roll and pitch bars to what settings you need in order to capture things nicely. So when we're landing, I'm coming in way too slow. Make sure your BLC switches up. Set your flaps to landing. Oh, bad. This ILS autopilot is not one that's going to land for you. It'll just get you lined up. The wiggliness is intentional. It was not very good in the original one. With our BLC that's blown flaps, you need to keep your engine RPM at least 80% in order to get full lift from them. But you do what's best for the situation. We're going to come in. Normally I'd want to be a little bit faster, but this is going to work for right now. I'm going to cross the runway threshold at 350 kilometers an hour. I'm going to kill the throttle. And look at that. Look at that. One other thing I totally forgot, because I'm still not used to this. Turn your nose brakes on. That's going to help. Still not used to the brake rewrite. Anyways, I'm sorry for rambling so much. That's navigation in a nutshell. Hope you learned something. If not, you can always yell at me. Anyways, see you next time.